Ladies and hypocrites. Andy here, fellow hypocrite. I went from depressed and suicidal to living a life of abundance and joy. If I can do it, you sure as hell can too. This is the Kill You're Gonna Loser show. Let's fucking go. So, I did a video, the last video that I did, where I responded to a comment that a guy left that I absolutely love. I goddamn well love this comment. And I wanted to add more to the conversation here. I wanted to talk about the fact that if any of you, myself included obviously, if we're to hold ourselves to the things that we've said in the past, then we will be a hypocrite. Part of self-improvement, part of self-evolution, part of growing and learning, and just part of aging is that you're always learning, you're always evolving, and you might believe one thing one year, a couple of years later, you don't believe that thing anymore, or your understanding of it has evolved or grown. It's become more nuanced. A lot of the time we are very headstrong and almost stuck in an idea, and we believe it very firmly. The further along we go with our self-improvement or just life in general, we'll have a more nuanced view about it. We kind of have more understanding. We've got more that we can bring to the table. We realize that the strongly held view that we had was only maybe one piece of the bigger picture. We can finally see the forest for the trees. And a lot of my old articles, I've talked about this before, but a lot of my old articles, I would phrase completely differently now. I really would. As my understanding has grown, as my website has grown from just getting laid to getting laid plus sex, plus relationships, plus love, plus intimacy, plus honesty, plus mental health, plus overcoming depression, plus money, plus spirituality, plus happiness, plus peace, plus what is the meaning of life, plus fitness, plus freaking everything. I'm trying to cover literally everything, big ambitious, goals, but I want to cover literally everything that you could ever talk about in life or in self-improvement. As I've grown and talked about more of those concepts, my integration of sex into the bigger picture has evolved. A lot of my old articles, I wouldn't say that I no longer believe them, but I would phrase a lot of stuff a lot differently. I would add more context. And there are a lot of things I would write differently. And I want to make something very clear. I've never claimed that I know everything. I've never claimed that I'm correct. I've never sat there and said, I know everything, fucking blah, blah, blah. In fact, I've spent the entire time I've done content, articles, YouTube, podcasts and stuff like that, telling you guys that I don't know everything. That all I'm doing is I'm just a guy sitting here telling you what's worked for me and my friends and some of my coaching clients, and hopefully it helps you. I've written tons of articles. Probably the most prominent one is, this is all just a big experiment. Right? Actively say, all I've ever done is just try a bunch of different things and see what works. And that's what I want all of you guys and girls to do, is try a bunch of different things. Try my advice. Try other people's advice, go read some books, listen to some podcasts, go out there and run your own experiments and see what works for you. You're all individual people whose lives are going to be vastly different from mine. I would never want anyone to just copy paste what I have done. And I've never claimed that. In fact, I've shared a lot of my vulnerabilities. I've shared a lot of my weakness. I've put it all out there. I have bared my soul to you guys and girls and been very, very, very explicit that I don't have all the answers. I'm just a person. I'm just a guy. I've never claimed that all of my advice works all the time. I've never claimed that there's not any holes in my logic. I've also never claimed that the things that I believe right now are going to stay set in stone and won't change in the future. About the only thing I've ever claimed that on is I don't want children, and so far that hasn't changed. But everything else, I've made it very clear that I don't have all the answers. So again, this whole discussion comes from this great comment that a guy left on a video I did called, it was essentially like women are not the focus of your life, or they're not the sole focus of your entire life. I think that's what the video was called. And he sort of challenged that and said, but what about all of your articles and all of your content on going all in with getting laid? The majority of your website is about Tinder and getting laid. The majority of my blog is, definitely sure. My YouTube channel, not so much, but I really love this question because it's a beautiful chance for us to talk about the fact that one of your biggest fears, like you listening, a lot of you listening, it comes up so often with comments and with emails and with coaching clients. You're worried about being called a hypocrite, or you're worried about being criticized. You're worried about what other people might think of you, that they might judge you. And I'm in a very privileged and beautiful position that I've gotten to document all of my thoughts, all of my beliefs, all of my philosophies for the whole world to see. And obviously not the whole world sees my content, but you get what I mean. It's like the whole world could see my content. And especially now that I'm doing a lot more YouTube shorts, which YouTube just shows those to random fucking people, there are a lot more people coming in that aren't familiar with me, that aren't familiar with my beliefs, my honesty, the things that I care about, my philosophies, and they just like see a very raw, like I'm just seeing this one video. And that obviously brings a lot more criticism, like a lot more. It's a very like privileged position, or a beautiful position to be in, because it means that you get to fully embrace this fear of being a hypocrite. Because when you write for years and years and years, especially when you are so hardcore into self-improvement, which I am, and you are evolving at a very rapid rate, you become a hypocrite. Somebody will point some old article out and say, hey, this conflicts with something that you're saying now. And that will just happen. Like if you dug through my website, you'd find hundreds of little tiny details where it's like, hey, you don't believe this anymore. Hey, you said you don't do this anymore. Hey, why did you used to say to do this and now you don't? Hey, I thought you said honesty. Well, how come here you're saying this? And it's a very interesting, and I'm incredibly grateful for it. It's an interesting position to be in because, like I said, it's, for a lot of you, it's your biggest fear of like, what if somebody calls me a hypocrite? What if somebody holds up a mirror and says, hey, fucker, you used to believe something different. Now you believe this. You're a hypocrite. You're a liar. Look at your dirty closet. Like, look at the skeletons in your closet. For a lot of us, that's our biggest fear. And a lot of people will spend their entire life trying to whitewash that. And, you know, like you guys know about cancel. I'm assuming you know about cancel culture, which is essentially where someone would dig through your internet history or your social media history and say, hey, look at this tweet that you wrote 5 years ago. You're fired, bitch. I'm getting you fired. And it's a very interesting time that we live in. And a lot of people see it as a bad thing. They go, oh my God, like I'm terrified that someone will dig up my hypocrisy from the past. But you guys know that I'm very big on positive thinking. It's a beautiful thing. When someone holds, you know, like this commenter that I'm doing this video about, when he holds up the mirror and says, hey, you used to believe something different. And funnily enough, the girl that we're seeing right now, that my girlfriend and I are dating right now, she did the same thing to me a couple of days ago. She literally held up a mirror and said, hey, I noticed this thing on your website. What's up with this? This conflicts with who you are, doesn't it? I thought you said that you're blah, 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 blah. How come this is here? When someone does that, when commenters or someone that you're seeing or whatever does that, it's a fucking beautiful thing because it literally shows you that you have an open, evolving mind. It shows you that you're not stuck in your old thinking. Wouldn't it be a bad thing, or I wouldn't be happy with it if that wasn't the case? Like imagine someone just looks back through your history from 5 years ago and says, hey, nothing's changed. Is that really what most of you want? No, you're here because you don't want to be stuck in that archaic thinking. You want to be constantly learning. You want to look back into your past and go, wow, holy shit, I kind of believe some dumb shit. Now, that was the best I could do at the time. I was literally doing my best. I wasn't trying to be ignorant, but like, holy shit, like I'm learning. And so I would encourage all of you to be constantly learning, evolving, even if that means that you change your mind as you learn new things. There's a really beautiful philosophy that Byron Katie, and you guys know I love Byron Katie talks about, which is you always want to be in the position of the student, not the teacher. What she means by that is when someone presents some new information to you, or someone criticizes you, or someone even says like, hey, you're a piece of shit, blah, 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 and it seems like they're attacking you. If you're in the role of the student, you will hear their criticism or their critique or their suggestion. Sometimes it's just a friendly suggestion or some new piece of information or some new book or whatever. You'll hear that very open-mindedly and you go, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if I can learn anything from that, because you're the student. And what is the student's role? To be constantly learning and evolving. It's the Socrates / Plato, one of those two guys, quote that says, "I know enough to know that I know nothing." If you can humble yourself and put yourself in that role of just saying, I'm a fucking dumbass, I don't know anything, ironically, you learn a hell of a lot more. You have a much wider range of wisdom, of knowledge, of learning, of growth, than if you're the person who puts on a little name tag or a little badge and just says, I'm the expert. Come to me for anything and I'll tell you all the answers. Because when you're in that role of the teacher, or when you call yourself the teacher, when you call yourself the expert, now you have to defend your knowledge. And if someone comes along and criticizes you, you get pulled down, literally down into a lower fucking emotional state or a lower frequency, whatever you want to call it. You get pulled down into argument. You have to defend. You have to say, no, well, here's why I believe this idea, blah, 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 blah. But if you can open yourself up and say, oh, that's interesting that you're criticizing me. I wonder if you have some, what's made you criticize me? Like, what are you trying to tell me? Like, I'm going to listen. Let me get a pen and paper. Let me fucking listen. You're telling me I'm a piece of shit? Okay, why? Like, I need to know why. I want to fucking improve this. If I am being a piece of shit, damn, I don't want to do that. How can I improve this? Or if I am being a dumbass, or if you do think that my ideas are wrong, fucking tell me. Let me learn from that. And so if you can put yourself in that position where you're as open-minded as you possibly can be, and you won't be perfect with it. I am not perfectly open-minded. I will come out and say that. I'm not the most open-minded person in the entire world. I am not always perfect at receiving criticism. I am not always perfect at learning and evolving. Of course not. But you do your fucking best. And if you can put yourself in that role of humble, dumbass student who's just trying to share the information that they've learned so far and is trying to help other people, but if someone gives you a suggestion that's useful, you'll take it on board. If you can keep yourself in that position, and it does become a habit and it gets really easy after a certain time, like I promise you it does get easier. If you can put yourself in that position of always learning, holy shit, you learn 10,000 times faster. My good friend Cam, a lot of you will know him as Radical Improvements over on YouTube. Shout outs to his channel. One of his core pieces of advice for people who are into self-improvement is be humble. Jocko Willink, who has a great book, Extreme Ownership, talks about being fucking humble. Jordan Peterson talks about fucking learning and being humble. All of these people talk about humility because it's such a, Byron Katie talking about always being the student. It's such a useful position to be in, to just say, I'm not going to say that your advice is wrong. I'm not going to debate and argue with you. I'm not going to say that I know better. I'm not going to spit out my fucking limiting beliefs and say, well, that won't work for me because I'm short. Or that's easy for you to say because you're a man and it's hard for women. No, if I can just shut my mouth and listen to advice or listen to information and fucking take it on board like a sponge, soak it up like a goddamn sponge, I will learn 1,000 times quicker. And more importantly, if I'm not a debating, argumentative fucking shithead, for want of a nicer way of phrasing that, if I can just shut my fucking mouth and not argue with people who give criticism or feedback or advice, they will want to give me more advice. Think about someone that you've tried to help, and then they go, well, that won't work for me because it's easy for you to say, but, I can't quit my job because I need the money, blah, 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 and they just argue with you. Do you want to fucking help them? No. You're like, well, fine, fuck you then. Like, I'm here if you need me, but I'm not going to fucking help you. Like, you don't listen to my advice. Why would I help you? But the person who can turn to you, full focus on you, and it takes a bit of practice to be able to do this, but the person that can turn full focus to you and say, okay, I'm listening. Hey, like, what advice are you trying to give me? What are you saying to me? I'm listening. You feel like your advice or your opinion or your help that you're trying to give has been well rewarded. And you go, shit, man, this person listens when I try and help them. I'm going to help them more. One of the reasons why, probably the reason, amongst others, there's other reasons, but probably the biggest reason that I am with my girlfriend Imogen, and we've been together for 5 years, is at the very start of our relationship. I told her how much I was into self-improvement, how much I wanted to learn and grow, and she told me, hey, I have some of these goals. I've always wanted to lose weight. I have a binge eating disorder. I would like to overcome that. And I very gently just said, okay, well, like if you want to lose weight, why don't you start by like downloading a calorie counter app? download MyFitnessPal and start counting your calories. She came back a week later and she's like, okay, so I have downloaded the app. I've been tracking my food every day. I have looked for a rough meal plan of how many calories to eat, and I've been sticking to that for a week. And I go, whoa, okay, holy shit. All right, okay, try this thing next. And I tell her the next thing to do. She comes back a week later. Hey, I've done that, and I also did this other thing and this other thing. What should I do now? And I'm like, whoa, okay, this woman listens. This is the student. And over the next, year or so, it was just this fun game of like, I would say to her, what do you want from life? And she'd say, well, I've just always wanted to work in product design, and I would love a job like that, but you have to go to university for 3 years, and then you have to go and get an internship for a year before you can, get that, and so it's impossible. And I was like, fuck that. Just make a little portfolio of some stuff you've done, grab some coffee and some muffins, go to a bunch of, design firms, and just ask to speak to the manager, and just make friends with them and ask if you can intern for free. She was terrified, but she did that over the next 3 months. She got an internship. She eventually got paid, like 3 months later, like $30 an hour. So she skipped 3 years of university, plus an extra year of internship. And then other goals that we gave her was like she couldn't do a pull-up. So it's like we got her to do 2 pull-ups eventually. She couldn't do the splits, so we got her to do that. She was terrified to talk to people. She was only 18 at the time, so she wasn't super, confident. We got her to approach 15 random people and just talk to them for 15 minutes and make friends with them, like strangers on the street. Like, she did some crazy shit over that first year, and she's done crazy shit since then. You guys can't even begin to imagine all the shit, the self-improvement project that is my lovely girlfriend. But because she so firmly latched onto and listened and was humble and followed and was the student when I would give her advice, it made me go, holy shit, woman. I want to pour all of my time and energy into you, into helping you. And I did. It's why we're still together. Because she fucking listens, because she's humble, because she's in the position of student. The girl that she and I are dating right now is exactly the same way. She would just look at you and you'll say like, hey, have you ever tried this? And she'll be like, oh, that's really cool. Thank you for that. I'm going to go. And then a week later, she'll come back and she'll go, so I've been doing the thing that you've said. I have literally been putting it into practice. I have bought the book that you wanted. I have read this book. I have tried this. I have done this philosophy. I've done this, blah, blah, blah. I even offhandedly said to her at some point when she said, I've always wanted to do more art. I threw out there offhandedly, oh, why don't you do a 365-day project? Like, do a piece of art every single day. Fucking 2 days later, she's like, hey, day 1, here we go. She's on day 70 right now. She's fucking just killing it. And people like that, and I'm encouraging all of you to be like that as well. If you just hear some advice and you say, I'm the student, I'm the dumbass student, I will just listen. And again, I try and put myself in that position as best as I possibly can, fucking all the time, as often as I possibly can. I'm not perfect with it, but as often as I can. If you can be in that position of, I am the dumbass who knows nothing, just tell me and I will fucking soak it up like a sponge. You evolve 1,000 times faster. One of my favorite, shout outs to any Germans right now for you guys, I think you guys are freaking 20 or 30% of my audience. Shout outs to the Germans out there. Actually, I tell you what, any Germans listening, leave a comment. Any Germans, leave a comment. Say, hey, greetings from Germany. My German clients, I say to every single one of them, fucking hell, Germans are my favorite people to work with. Just hands down, if I have to pick one nation to work with, it's the fucking Germans. Why? Because everything I say, they will shut their fat little fucking mouth. Maybe they have a beautiful skinny mouth, I don't know. But they will shut their little mouth and they'll go, yes, sir, I will do that. And they won't argue. They might ask questions of how should I do that? Or I'm a little bit scared of this. Can you give me some advice? But they won't sit there and be like, oh, I don't know if that'll work. Oh, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I want to do that. They'll just go if you tell me to do it, I will fucking do it. I might fail. I might make some mistakes, in which case we'll have to change what we're doing and stuff. But I will go out there and I will attempt it. Germans, just every single German client I've ever worked with has just done everything I've said. Same as all the German clients that email me. If I ever see an email from a German person, like a German listener who's hey, greetings from Germany. If they ask for advice, I'm okay, you're the person that I'm actually going to put effort into replying to this email and helping for, I get nothing out of it, but I know that you'll at least fucking do the things that I say. If I say go do this, you'll do this. Polish people are also pretty damn good at that. So anyone from Poland, leave a comment below. But Germans are just the number one people at you say something, they would have shut their mouth and fucking do it because they're humble. They're willing to just say, I don't know. That's why I'm asking you for advice, because I don't know. It's a really interesting position that you get to be in when you're a content creator, where you'll give some piece of advice or you'll suggest something and you'll have people arguing. People who will say, I'm not happy with my life. You, Andy, are happy with your life. I haven't progressed in this particular goal. You, Andy, have progressed in this particular goal. And you've coached hundreds of people at this point with this goal. Now, let me argue and tell you why your advice is wrong. And sometimes I'll even play devil's advocate and I'll say, have you tried this though? Like, have you gone out and just given it a go? Well, no, because it won't work. And you're like, God bless you. Look at that humility. Isn't that beautiful? Like, that's just, you're holding yourself back. And any of you that feel like there's some part of that inside you, or you have that tendency to have the limiting beliefs and just believe them. We all have limiting beliefs. I've just constantly had a stream of limiting beliefs. But I mean, if you really give into them and attach to them and say, yeah, because I feel like I can't get laid, or because I feel like I can't make money, I mustn't be able to make money. I'm going to attach to my feelings and my limiting beliefs. If you have that tendency inside yourself, if that resonates with you, do your absolute best to be a little bit more humble. Put yourself in the position of, I don't know. If you can just say, I don't know, if you can say, I don't think this will work, but I have to be intellectually honest and say, I don't know that it won't work, that's a beautiful position to be in. You can have like 99% surety that it won't work, but if you leave that 1% doubt and just say, all right, there's a 1% chance that this might work, beautiful. Now we've opened the gate. Now we have a foot in the door. Now there's a little bit of a light shining through that dark tunnel. Because if there's a 1% chance that you might make it, isn't that worth having a crack and going for it? A lot of the stuff that I've gone for, I thought only had a 1% chance of working out. There's a beautiful interview on YouTube. If you search for Elon Musk, fear, it's short, like 5-minute video where he's talking about his fears, and he says he's always been terrified of everything he's ever done. Tesla, SpaceX, like all the crazy shit he's ever done has terrified him. And he only thought that some of them, he thought that most of them wouldn't work. So he had that limiting belief in his head. He's like, I didn't think SpaceX would work. There was no way, like that wasn't the mission. The mission was just to move the ball forward a little bit. And then the next company would pick up all of our research and our work and keep going. I didn't think SpaceX would work. Why the fuck would it work? I didn't think Tesla would work. That wasn't the mission. The mission was to move the ball forward, pass the baton on to the next company, and they would grab that and go, thanks, Elon, I appreciate all the work you did. Thank you for fucking failing. Now we can go forwards and use your work and piggyback off that. That was his mission. But he said there was a 10% chance in my brain that maybe one of these companies would work out. 10% chance. And so I did it. I went for that. And so if you can just have a fucking 10% or a 1% chance in your mind that maybe this will work, even though I don't think it will, I'm just going to latch onto that 1% and try anyway. Because what the fuck else are you doing with your life? Sitting there having an unhappy life, coming home from work and just playing video games, jerking your little dickie, or if you're a woman, just sitting there self-medicating with Instagram and YouTube and fucking TikTok and wasting time. Like, does that make you happy? If it does, by all means, please do it. This isn't a criticism of social media, but it's more a call to action for some of you who are not happy with your lives. You don't like where you are, but yet you will sit there and say, but it's hopeless. I can't make it because of this reason or that reason, or because it doesn't work, or because Andy's just selling hopes and dreams to idiots who'll listen, or, you know, this book about, you know, extreme ownership by Jocko Willing, he's just trying to sell books and make money. His advice doesn't work. How do you know? If you can latch onto that, or if you can open yourself up to the 1% chance that maybe some of this positive thinking shit might actually work, maybe some of this self-improvement stuff might work. You don't have to believe it will, just say might. If you can open yourself up to that and get started, beautiful. I've done so many articles, so many podcasts, so many videos where I talk about the fact that I haven't thought most of what I've done would work. When I first started working on myself, I didn't think I could overcome depression. I really did. Why would I think I could overcome depression and suicidal thoughts? I'd had them for like 9 years. It was all I knew. The world was dark and evil in my brain. But there was a 0.1% chance it might have worked out. So fucking what else was I going to do? Sit there and hate myself and be even more depressed for the next 10 years and kill myself? No. So I went for it. I tried. And it worked out. The same as when I first started talking to women and improving my dating and sex life. I didn't think any woman would ever give me a phone number. That wasn't my goal. When I first started going outside to learn how to talk to women and doing the approach anxiety program that I did, which just helped me even be able to talk to human beings, I didn't think it was going to work. I didn't think I was cool. I thought I was a fucking loser. I thought that no one would like me. My mission was to have a couple of girls be nice to me. That was my fucking goal. I just want women to be nice to me. I've been in 8 or 9 years of just unhappy relationships where we were violent to each other, hateful, spiteful. I cheated a bunch of times. They weren't happy relationships. They were the cause of much of my depression, or the fulfillment of my deep depression. I didn't think any women would like me. I just wanted a couple of women to be nice to me. And I didn't even know that would happen. I had so many doubts and insecurities, but what the fuck else was I going to do? Sit there and be unhappy until the day I died? No. So I tried. I just tried. I didn't think it would work out. Do you guys think that I ever thought that I would make money from my coaching? No. Any of you OGs, there's probably not a lot of you left at this point. Any of you OGs who were there from day one, actually, there are quite a few of you that I can think of, actually, so that statement's not correct. But quite a lot of you OGs who were there from day one of me setting up my website, you know how terrified I was? My biggest fears were that no one was going to read a single one of my articles. I was never going to help anyone. No one would care about me. No one would care what I had to say. That my website was just going to be this pathetic little fucking blog that no one read, and 0 comments and no fucking views, and I couldn't help anyone, and my life was meaningless. That's what I was worried about. People started reading. It started building. When people said, hey, make your own forums, I was like, literally no one is going to come. It's going to be embarrassing. I'm going to spend weeks coding these forums or tweaking these forums and, building them and making them perfect and pretty and, tweaking it and making it good, and no one will come. I was so unbelievably terrified that no one would come. I didn't think anyone would come. I argued with my friend Cam, who was one of the main pushers, and some other people as well, who pushed me to make the forums. I was like, no one's going to come, dude. It's going to be pathetic. Like, what's the point of this? It's not going to work. And they were like, just do it anyway. And I was like, I'm going to embarrass myself, man. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt if I make these forums and spend weeks and no one fucking comes. I had this discussion with Imogen 100 times too. I was like, I feel so just pathetic even doing this. Like, what if no one comes? But there was a 0.1% chance that maybe it would work out. So fuck it. I did it. Look, we have like 2,000 members signed up now. It's insane. This YouTube channel, I thought nobody would fucking watch. I started with a podcast on Spotify and then the YouTube channel. I didn't think anyone would listen. I thought I'd just be like speaking into the fucking ether and no one would care. Like echoes in the abyss, and I'd just be hearing the sound of my own annoying voice, and no one would like me and no one would care, and I could never help a single soul. But I did it anyway. There was a 0.1% chance that it would work out, so fuck it, I did it. I definitely did not think I would make any money from coaching. In fact, I think it took me like 2 years to make my first single dollar from my website because I was so unbelievably scared to ever ask for money. And some people even tried to give me money and I sent it back to them, which is really rude. Don't send money back to people when they send you money, by the way. But I was just I was just like, I don't deserve money. I didn't think I'd ever get to a point where I could earn money, but I tried. There was a 0.1% chance it might work out, so I did it. I really didn't think I would be able to pay the bills, ever. And some of my old OG clients are going to, maybe they'll listen to this. They're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. The people that signed up at the very start when I was charging like $20 an hour or something, and like I would just say to them and in my articles and stuff, I'd be like, I don't know how I will ever get from where I am right now to having the money to just pay the bills and keep the lights on. I'm racking up debt every single, week that goes. At this point, I still have like $100,000 in debt or something from loans and tax and shit like that, which will pay off in the next couple of years. That's going to be pretty easy at this point. But racking up debt, feeling like I was stressed, only sleeping like 2 or 3 hours a night, like shitting my pants every day. Literally, I'd have panic attacks and just felt like the walls were closing in on me and like a dark cloud was over my life every second. Imogen felt the same as well. That was a very stressful time for both of us, and I never in a billion years could have thought that I would pay the bills. How the fuck would I ever? Do you know how much of a pipe dream that seemed like? That one day I would be able to just do podcasts and coach people, 2 things that I love deeply, and people would give me enough money to pay the rent. That's insane. That's an insane concept. I didn't ever think that would work out, but I thought there was a 1% chance that it might work out, so fuck it, I tried. Do you think I ever thought I would make $5,000 a month? That was a fucking long time coming. I never thought that would happen. That's too much money. That's an insane amount of money. $5,000, that's insane. In my own currency, that's like $9,000. That's crazy. And yet I thought maybe there's a 1% chance I could do it. So I fucking tried, and we did. $50,000 in a month. Oh my God. You guys cannot even begin to. I thought that's for like billionaires and rich people and like Elon Musk and Dan Bilzerian and people like that. I didn't think I could ever do something like that. That's just not possible. And yet there was a 1% chance. So I tried. And thanks to all of you lovely people and my generous coaching clients and all of you wonderful people, we hit that. We hit that like last year. We actually hit, I think, 70 or 80,000 US in that month. I think it ended up being, which is insane. Do you think I ever thought I could charge $20,000 for a coaching client? It's now $50,000 for one-on-one coaching with me, US. There's a guy that signed up 2 weeks ago. Like 2 weeks after I announced that I was doing it. That was so unbelievably terrifying for me to do that video. You guys cannot even imagine. Go back and watch it. It's a video from like a month ago called I Was Terrified to Do This. You can see the fear on my face in that video. I didn't think there was ever going to be anyone. And I was okay with it. I literally in my head said, if nobody ever signs up for this for the rest of my life, I'm okay with that. We will pay the bills from group coaching, the cheaper coaching package that I offer. We will pay the bills from I'll write more books or I'll help more people or we'll figure out a way to pay the bills. That's fine. But I don't think anyone's ever, like who would pay $50,000? That's insane. Why would someone pay that? But there was a 1% chance that they might. So I thought, fuck it. Like I'm humble enough and I'm stupid enough to say, I don't know. I'm a dumbass. How can I possibly predict that someone will pay $50,000 or not? I can't know that they won't. So I tried. 2 weeks later, they did. They fucking did. And you can see through this history of things that I'm talking about, if you don't know what's going on here, it is a long series of events, and I could list 100 other events. I didn't think I would ever fall in love, and yet there is Imogen. I never thought that we could be as open and vulnerable and honest as we are with the girl that we're dating right now, but yet here we fucking are. I never thought we could share the darkest parts of ourselves with her, with anyone really, and yet we have. And she's just like, okay, I really appreciate you sharing that. I never thought that I could sit here and share my prison story that I shared a couple of weeks ago, and that everyone would just be like, cool, thanks for sharing, man. I never thought I could do any of this shit. And that's the point. This is a long history of me thinking one thing, like this won't work, I can't do this, I'll never succeed, there's no way this is possible, this is just asking too much, blah, blah, blah. And yet I was proven wrong every fucking time. I have been proven wrong so many tens of thousands of fucking times at this point that I just put my hand up and I say, I don't know jack shit. I know less than most of you, because most of you think you know a lot. Not all of you, lots of you are humble, but generally speaking, you haven't been humbled as much as I have, because you don't do content creation. The more of this stuff you do, the further you go with your self-improvement as well. You're just proven wrong so many times that, like, I will go on other people's podcasts. I went on a podcast recently, Keaton from Intellectual Muscle, so go watch that if you haven't watched it. Again, that's Intellectual Muscle. And he asked me a couple of questions, and I'm just like, I don't know. Here's what I think, but I don't fucking know. And then he gives his opinion, and, you know, it's like I could have seen that being a debate. Not that he's an argumentative guy, but I'm just saying I could have seen it, him going, I believe this, and me going, no, I believe this. But like when he says his bit, I'm just like, I don't know, maybe. I don't think what you're saying, like I have a different experience, but like maybe you're right. How do I fucking know? I've just been proven wrong so many tens of thousands of times that I can't even say I know anymore. I'm a fucking dumbass. Again, I think I know less than most of you. I probably have more experience. I probably have more knowledge, but a lot of you will take a lot of things for granted. What I mean by that is you'll say like, no, I do know this. No, I do know this. No, I know that as well. No, I know this. Whereas on all of those things, you'd think that I would say, yeah, I know that too. But I'm just like, I don't know. I don't fucking know. My experience is that. So far in my life that has happened, but I can't say that's always true. I can't say that's true for everyone. I can't say I know. I've just been proven wrong 10,000 times. How the fuck? What am I going to just be a dumbass and like keep holding on to my stubbornness? No. I've been humbled. And again, I'm in a very, very, very beautiful position where that's happened. I'm so great. I didn't intend to humble myself at all. Okay, recently I have been working on humbling myself. It has been a very active process. And I guess you can say at the start of my journey, I tried to humble myself. I did. I tried my hardest to listen when I wanted to argue. So I tried to humble myself. But most of the time I haven't. It's kind of just happened as a process of self-improvement, going for goals, realizing that my limiting beliefs were bullshit and that I didn't know, or having a discussion with someone and saying, hey, I think this, and then being proven wrong tens of thousands of times, especially since I went through all the red pill stuff. And I clung pretty fucking tightly for that for years. I had so many stories and so much red pill shit of like, women are like this. Women are always like this. Women will always flake. Women can never be loyal. Women can never commit to a man because they're always into hypergamy and they're always trying to upgrade. Women love alpha males. Women will settle with a beta male when they're in their 30s. Like, just so many fucking rules. And every single one of them, okay, some of them, so not every single one of them. The red pill does help a lot, in my opinion. But so many of those stories, I was just proven fucking wrong. I've talked about this so many times. This is one of my favorite stories to tell. So, you know, when I was deep in that red pill stuff and in the anger phase, and I kept women at a distance, I would sleep with them, but I didn't have feelings. I didn't like them. I treated them like they were the other. Because of all the red pill stuff. I didn't believe you could get close to women. I believed that they would break your heart. I believed that they, were not capable of love in the same way that a man is, or not capable of loyalty, like all the red pill stuff, right? And I dated this girl, this Asian girl, Chinese girl. And from the moment that I met her, she was just an absolute sweetheart. She really was. Like one of the most just genuinely innocent, kind, sweet girls that I've ever met in my entire life. And we dated for a year. Casually dated for a year. And in that entire time, I spent the entire time trying to find examples of her being manipulative, right? All of the red pills said that all women manipulate. They're always going to cheat on you. They're never loyal. They can't commit. Blah, blah, blah. Like all of those kind of stories, right? And I was searching for it desperately. I would have even fucking invented it. Like I would have confirmation bias invented it, but I couldn't find a single example of her being manipulative or bad or dark or evil or conniving or unkind or anything, anywhere, to any other human being ever. I couldn't find her at one single example of that. We even at one point took LSD together. And I thought, okay, this might actually be this isn't why we took LSD together, but in the middle of it, I was like, maybe I should use this opportunity to ask her, like, is there any dark part of your soul? And I asked her those questions. I was like, have you ever manipulated me? Have you ever lied to me? Like, because when you're on LSD, you just tell the fucking truth. And she just spent the entire LSD trip with this giant fucking adorable big smile on her face and giggling. She just spent the entire 16 hours giggling. And when I asked her these questions of have you ever manipulated me? She just giggled and she's had a big smile on her head and she shook her head. And I was like, you can tell me the truth. I won't judge you if you have. Have you ever lied to me? And she smiled and had a big smile. She's like, and I was like, are you lying right now? Are you telling the truth? And she's like, yeah. And she couldn't even talk. She was just so giggly. And she just grabbed me and snuggled me. And she's like, I wouldn't lie to you. And I was like, but I wouldn't be mad at you. But I would like to know the truth. And she's like, no. And I was looking into her eyes and she just had this big innocent smile on her face. And there were so many other moments like that where, she would just buy me a Christmas present or a birthday. She remembered my birthday. I don't know how. I must have said that offhandedly. And she bought me this really incredibly thoughtful gift. And even though I was deep in the red pill shit where I was like, you're never allowed to express feelings for a woman. You can never praise her. You can never show her appreciation. You can never be kind to her or any of that stuff. You got to be cold like a fucking brick wall. When she bought me that birthday present, I was like, holy fuck, this is really sweet. I didn't tell her that. I kept it. I was like, oh, thanks, kiddo. That's really cute of you. Haha. But that really affected me. And, for this entire year, I just couldn't find a single thing that she ever did. And I was trying so hard. And everything in the red pill was saying like, no, she's just really good at manipulation. Women are always like that. Blah, 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 blah. Never trust a woman. We get to Christmas and she goes back home to see her family in China. And she sends me this letter and she writes down all of her feelings in the letter. And there's no agenda there, because that's another thing that the red pill say. They'll say, or a lot of them will say, a woman will try and get commitment out of you. She'll try and get a relationship out of you. Like, they can never just be okay with seeing you. Like, they're always trying to get something from you. They always want a relationship or commitment or like force you. And so I get this long letter and I'm thinking like, oh, okay, here we go. This is it. This is the moment where she tries to say like, when are you going to commit to me? Or like, when can we be boyfriend, girlfriend? Or like, I've seen you for a year now and it's been casual. Like, when are you going to give me what I want? I thought that's what the letter was. It was just this really genuinely sweet, very giving, no expectations, no nothing letter of her just saying, it wasn't even like an outpouring of feelings. It was just genuinely innocent and kind and saying like, I really appreciate all the time that we spent together. You mean a lot to me. I really like you. Thank you for helping me grow as a person. I really enjoy the sex. I really enjoy hanging out. I really enjoy everything you've given me. I'm looking forward to seeing you more. And I hope you have a beautiful Christmas. It's really nice seeing my family. I can't wait to see you again when I get back home. And I remember reading this letter. I was standing out on this street underneath this nice tree, all the people walking past, and I'm just holding this letter, and I'm just like, I give up. I give up. There's no darkness. I've tried to find darkness in her for a year. I've tried to find signs of her manipulating me, or has this been part of her master plan to get commitment out of me, to get a relationship? She doesn't want anything from me. She literally doesn't want anything. She's not trying to get anything. She's not trying to manipulate me. She's not trying to force me. She just is happy. She's happy in herself, and she's happy with me, and she wants me to feel nice too. And I gave up in that moment. I literally gave up all the red pill shit. I was like, I'm wrong. All the red pill shit, I'm wrong. Not all the red pill stuff. There's some stuff that I think is really useful, like the self-improvement stuff and going to the gym and being stoic and stuff like that. But almost everything I believed about women that came from the red pill was wrong. I was just like, I give up. This is wrong. I've been proven wrong. And she wasn't the only girl. There was like hundreds of other girls. Not hundreds of other girls, but like, you know what I mean? There's like lots of other girls. And I was like, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I'm fucking wrong. And I think that was a real big turning point in me giving up this feeling of like, I have to be the teacher. I have to know everything. I have to say that like women are like this and this is the way you should do it. And it's really important to get, every man should get laid. They have to get laid. It's why when I get questions like, do you believe every man has to get laid? I'll be like, how the fuck can I know what every man should do? Or do you believe that a man should get laid before making money? It's like, how the fuck can I? You'd have to ask me the individual guy. And then I would just turn it back on him and say, what do you want? And we can talk about the pros and cons. We can talk about blah, 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 blah. But I'm not going to say I know. And a lot of that came from that moment where it's like, I'm wrong. I've had hundreds of beliefs here that I clung to, and I said, I know women are like this. I'm fucking wrong. I'm wrong. I'm a dumb fucking idiot who doesn't know anything. Let me just start from the actual intellectually honest position of saying, I don't fucking know. I think I know, but I don't fucking know. I've been proven wrong too many times. I can't know. And so if you can get into that position, which again takes a little bit of practice, it does. I'm in a very beautiful position having done all this self-improvement. That's probably the quickest way to get there, honestly, is to work on yourself, to go out there and chase your goals and make them happen, to take action, to improve yourself. If you can go through that self-improvement journey or move a little further along and try and do it with as open a mind as you possibly can, holy shit, man, this journey is just so much easier because you don't get stuck in unhelpful thinking or beliefs that are just not serving you. The belief that all women are liars and can't commit and show no loyalty, does that serve you? Ask the question. Like be very honest with yourself. And it's not up to me to tell you that it doesn't serve you. How the fuck do I know? It's kind of the theme of this podcast. How do I know if it's serving you or not? I can't know that. If you come to me for coaching, we can sit down and I can help you find that out. But any of you listening who aren't doing coaching with me, I can't say what's good for you. So look in your own eyes in the mirror, go stand in front of the mirror and say, is this belief serving me? Is this certainty that I have on this particular topic, does that help me? Or is it maybe holding me back a little bit? Is it stopping me from evolving? Maybe it served me up until this point, because some of our strongly held convictions do get us really far. I've had a lot of strongly held convictions in the past, for sure. I still have some now. I just hold on to them a lot less strongly now, so they're not really strongly held convictions. But my convictions definitely helped me. Like, they do serve a purpose. But at some point, you get to a point where it's like, maybe I don't need to cling on to this so tightly anymore. Maybe I can open the door for new information to come in. Maybe I can be a little more humble and see if I learn something. So, all of this is to say, I'll sort of sum up a little bit. You want to not become so stuck in your thinking, or it's helpful to not become so stuck in your thinking that you become closed-minded and stubborn, because you're not going to evolve without changing your mind on a few things. Like, it just seems to be the case that as you improve yourself, as you evolve, as you grow, old thinking habits and thinking patterns and old beliefs are like cobwebs that you have to like dust off, and then you bring in new ones. You bring in new beliefs, not new cobwebs. And you let go of some of the past, some of the stuff that you believed in the past. But if you're so stuck on, I have to be the teacher, I have to be the knower, I have to be the expert, I have to say that I know, I have to defend and argue. I've had so many people email me. I had a guy on the forums, I won't shout him out by name. Maybe he knows who he is. He's a guy who's quite far along. I did some particular, reply or something on some forum, and he private messaged me and said, like, dude, I disagree with you. I'm going to argue with you. Like, can I say my piece? And it's just like, what if you don't have to do that? What if you just read Andy's opinion and be like, Andy's probably I disagree with this. Andy's a dumbass. Like, what if you don't have that need to, what if you even say, can I see any wisdom in what Andy has said here? Can I see if I agree? Can I use any of what he said to make myself a better person? What if I don't cling on to this need to defend? And I get comments, not a lot actually, you guys are pretty open-minded. I get comments every now and then. It's usually new people who haven't seen our community before, where they just want to defend or argue or attack. And it's like, what if you didn't have to do that? Like, think how much more peaceful you'd be if you didn't have to defend. People get very defensive about their country and their culture and their nationality. What if you didn't have to? What if you could just hear the opinion that, like, this country sucks, and you could just go like, that's their opinion. I love my country. And actually, you know what? I can see times where our country sucks. Cool. Yeah, we got room for improvement. Let's improve that. You literally won't improve your country or your team or your whatever it is that you're defending, yourself, your mind, your personality, your family, your relationship. Fuck, man, people are defensive in a relationship. The other person will say, hey, maybe we could start doing this. And you're like, oh, so what, you're unhappy? No, we're not going to do that. It's like you literally won't improve the relationship or the culture or the country or the group or whatever it is if you're not humble enough to hear criticism and go, do I want to change anything? And you don't have to change. Like, sometimes people can criticize and you can listen open-mindedly and go, okay, I'm going to listen to what they're saying. No, you know what, actually, like, I think I'm pretty happy with what we're doing. Great. That criticism helped you because it helped you solidify, like, no, I like what we're doing. I think we're on a good path. That person fucking still helped you by criticizing. But if you're closed-minded and you defend and if you argue, and again, I understand it. I understand what happens, but it always gives me a big chuckle when someone will write me an email or leave a comment or, this guy on the forum sending me a message. And that's not just him, by the way. That happens quite a lot. Okay, it doesn't happen quite a lot. It happens from time to time. It always makes me chuckle. Because it's like, why do you need to defend? Why do you need to tell me that I'm wrong? Why do you need to argue? And I appreciate the fucking criticism. Again, to be clear, it helps me. But does it make you feel good? Does it make you feel good to feel the need to defend everything, to argue everything, to be right? You're probably not going to, like, in an argument, nobody wins. Well, in an argument where you're trying to prove the other person wrong, in an argument where you're trying to change the other person's mind, most of the time you don't win. There's a really good TED Talk. I can't remember what it's called. Just maybe look for TED Talk argument or debate or something like that, where this guy said, the only way you win a debate is if you lose. And that seems like a very weird thing to say, but he's like, if I go into it, he said, every debate I go into or argument that I go into, I think it was a scientist or something like that, Every debate or argument that I go into it trying to lose. Because if I try and lose, if they convince me or change my mind, I've grown. They haven't. They haven't learned anything. If anything, they've just gotten more solidified in their thinking, and they're probably going to be stuck in the mud, and they probably won't change their mind and be open-minded. But I go into it wanting to fucking lose. Because if I lose in any way, that means I learned something. If I win, that means I just wasted my fucking time. I didn't learn anything. Like literally, if I just steamroll over the other person and they go like, oh, fine, you win. What did I get out of that? Other than jerking my fucking dick off and saying, oh, look at my big ego. Look how good I am at debating. See, I'm correct. Yay, I win. Like, you didn't evolve. You didn't grow. You didn't learn anything. And so again, I really appreciate it because but you have to understand, if you argue with me, you're helping me. And I fucking love you for that. I want to give you a big fucking hug and a kiss on the forehead. But a lot of people will argue with me, and not just me, that, argue with everyone, but you argue thinking you're trying to defeat my argument or something. You don't understand that, like, you lose in that. If you win, like if you beat me, not that I would ever fucking debate with anyone, but if you do argue with me, if I was to stoop down to your level and argue with you, even if you win, you didn't learn anything. You just confirmed your own fucking narrative. What was the point of that? If your narrative is so true, it doesn't need to be confirmed. You'd just be living it, wouldn't you? That's another thing to think. If you're spending time arguing with people on the internet, and again, we're not just talking about me. I'm saying if you go around arguing with people, whether that's arguing in the comments section, arguing with a content creator, arguing whatever, arguing with people in your own life, if you go around arguing, you're not learning. You're not evolving. You're spending time fighting people who were trying to help you. That's what's the funniest thing. Most of society is trying to help you. Most of the people out in the world are trying to help you. Most people on YouTube are definitely trying to help you. Most people who do self-improvement content are definitely trying to help you. You're arguing with the people that are trying to help you. You're literally picking up a sword and saying, hey, you who are trying to give me medicine or trying to give me books to read or trying to like help me learn, I'm going to fucking stab you. And that person's like, whoa, but I don't want to. And you're like, fuck you, I'm going to stab you. And it's like, you're not learning. The person is there with a book going like, hey, can I teach you something? And you're like, I'm going to fucking fight you. You're trying to fight me. And they're like, but this is just a book. I'm not fighting you. We're like, why would I want to fight you? I don't want to fight anyone. I can't be bothered. Fuck you. Fucking. You're not learning. And so if you can put yourself in that position of being a dumbass, which is why I don't get into debates or drama or argue with anyone in the comments, I might give some advice from time to time. There have been times in the past where I did argue for sure, but I kept a pretty good, I don't think I've deeply argued with someone for, like there'll be instances of it here and there, but I don't think I've like properly argued for like years and years and years, because it's just a waste of my fucking time and energy. And even if I convince that person, what did I get out of that? I just wasted like half an hour or several hours, or sometimes people argue for days or weeks. What the hell did I get out of that? And is my life really so perfect that I can afford to spend hours arguing with people and getting nothing out of that other than jerking off my own fucking ego? Like, is my life that perfect? Is everything in order? My bed is made. My finances are perfect. My friendships are great. My body is perfect. I'm just peaceful and meditative and zen and spiritual and everything is wonderful and I'm happy. And now I can afford to spend some of my free time arguing. No. The answer for almost all of us is no. Our life isn't perfect. It's not where we want it to be. We have dreams and hopes and goals and all of that. So why are you spending that time arguing? Spend that time learning. Or spend that time saying like, hey, yeah, you might be right. I might be a fucking dumbass. Can you tell me where, please? Because while you're trying to tell me that I'm a dumbass, I want to learn. Tell me where I'm a fucking dumbass. You can argue. In fact, God bless you. You're like Jesus on the cross or something. You're like a fucking martyr for me. You're going to hurt yourself by arguing with me because it doesn't feel good arguing with someone. It never feels good. So you're going to martyr yourself for me. Holy shit, dude. You're like an angel sent down from heaven or something. Please tell me how I'm a piece of shit. Please. Like, I got a fucking notebook open and a pen ready to go. Tell me. Tell me why I'm a dumbass. Tell me where I'm wrong. Please. Martyr yourself for me. I appreciate that. Again, you're like motherfucking Teresa or something. I want to kiss you on the forehead and say thank you. Thank you for hurting yourself by arguing so that I can be a better person. But that does take humility to be able to be open to that and to receive that criticism, or that, it's not always criticism, a lot of the time it's like advice. Humility, humility, humility. So embrace the fact that you are going to be a hypocrite of your past sometimes. That's completely okay. I'm a hypocrite in like 1,000 different ways. 1,000. It means you're growing. It means that you're learning. It means that you're evolving. It means that you're not stuck in archaic thinking. It means you've cleaned the cobwebs out of your mind or out of your soul or whatever, and you're ready for a new paradigm. There's a reason that my channel and my blog and all of that, my content, my brand, is kill your inner loser. Because it's like there's a metaphor of the phoenix, which is a mythical bird, which dies every night and is reborn. A lot of you nerds will know that from Harry Potter. I love Harry fucking Potter. But a lot of you nerds will know that, right? The Order of the Phoenix. And so this bird will die every single night and be reborn. And that was always my username, for the last 7 or 8 years of my self-improvement, kill your inner loser, because it's like I felt like you're going through this, ongoing process of killing yourself or of being reborn. And I don't mean killing in a harsh way, but like dying and then being reborn, like every day, every week, every month, every year, definitely every year. If you're into self-improvement, if you're taking action every day, or if you're, in this process, you're evolving every single day, every week, every year. And it's like your old you ceases to be. You'll look back at the old you and be like, wow, there was a time where I literally couldn't talk to other human beings outside. What the hell? That's not me. That's literally not me. And when I look far enough, it's like there was a time I was in jail. I was in such a dark place that I went to fucking jail. Holy shit, that's not me. Oh my God, I can't believe that I did. Like, wow. I know how it happened. I can reverse engineer it. It's pretty obvious how I got there. But like, damn, dude, like that's just not me. There was a time I was obese. There was a time I was obese. You look back at all that shit and it's like, damn. There was a time I believed that women are all horrible and they're all out to get you. There's a time I believed I didn't deserve love. There's a time I believed I'd always be in poverty and poor and never have any money. There's a time I believed that I wasn't allowed to even go to the gym. There's a time I believed all this shit, that no one would like me, no one would care. I could never help anyone. That was a big, strong-held belief. But that old Andy died. And not in a violent way, but he just went to sleep. And I woke up the next day, and there's like a phoenix reborn. There's a new version of me. And that's been a process every single day, week, month, year, decade. I'll be coming up on a decade in the next 3 years, right, of self-improvement. It's this constant process of going to sleep. You wake up the next morning as a phoenix reborn, as a new you, like a fresh start. And so you're going to be a hypocrite of the old you. You're going to look back on some of your old opinions and say, wow, did I believe that? I understand how I believed that. I was just believing a bunch of stories and I can see how I got there, but damn. Yeah, old me just didn't really know. Damn, I have way more information now. Yeah, I'm way more open-minded now. So you're going to be a hypocrite. That's perfectly, beautifully okay. Be as humble and as student-like as you possibly can be. Go out there, crush your goals. Oh, before we finish up, big shout out, like I said, to the coaching and the guy that signed up for $50,000. I never fucking thought that would happen. I said it early in this podcast, that's insane to me. I still am trying to wrap my head around it, that some human being trusts me enough to give me $50,000 for 6 months of coaching. That's humbling, weird, amazing, life-affirming. I'll be honest, a little bit validating. Not a lot, but it's like a beautiful fucking thing, right? It's a beautiful gift that someone will say, I trust you this much to give you this much money. That's just such a beautiful gift. So shout out to him. I don't know if he wants to be anonymous, so I won't say his name, but shout out to him. Any of you listening that want to join that coaching program, I got a couple of slots available as well. I don't want to take on too many people. I think I only want to work with 2 at a time. Maybe I'd work with 3 if they're really, if people were desperate, but I want to keep it to, I'd like to keep it to 2 people at once. So let's say there's 1 slot available if you want that $50,000 coaching, which is 6 months of one-on-one coaching with me, plus my group coaching program. So you get access to Cam, Radical Improvements. He'll help you with your fashion and he'll coach you alongside me. Access to all the other guys in the group who are kicking ass. We'll say for the moment there's 1 slot and maybe I'll open it up to 2. like 2 more. We'll see how we go, but hit me up. I'll leave a link in the description below if you'd like that. I also have a much more affordable $7,000 group coaching program, which is, all the people that I'm coaching right now, as well as Cam. I've got a Facebook group, got a Discord group, which you can stay in for life. So you get access to every coaching client I will ever work with and have ever worked with. So all of the people that I've interviewed, Renee, Ed, Ravi, all of those ass-kicking legends. I think there's like 60 or something people in that group. You get to talk to all of them, hang out with all of them, grow and learn with all of them for the rest of your life, as well as, weekly group coaching calls with me and all that good stuff. So I'll leave links in the description to that. Go out there, ladies and gentlemen, and crush your goals, but also be as humble as you possibly can. You don't know everything. I don't know everything. I'm a complete fucking dumbass. You guys and girls are definitely dumbasses. Embrace that. We're all a big group of complete dumbasses who don't know anything. We're just trying to do our best. That's all anyone can ever ask. That's all we can ask of ourselves. And try not to get stuck in this, prideful ego defensiveness or argumentativeness, or like, I know better than you. I'm not going to listen because I know this won't work. You don't know anything. You really don't. I don't know anything. I'm just a guy sitting in front of a goddamn camera, ranting and raving, and hopefully some of what I says helps you. Some of what I say helps you, but I don't know everything. I really don't. I know enough to know that I know nothing.